everybody, it's Andy aka Max Rider. We're back to Myst, and this will be the reading day. This is the stone ship. Okay. Emma was the first to live on the rocks. He named them the rocks because that's what they were, a group of sharp rocks clustered together in the middle of a large sea. He was there. This was where Emmett lived. Good for Emmett. He enjoyed his life. Emmett would occasionally swim to nearby rocks, as it was never too far of a distance. One day, another person appeared on the rocks for no apparent reason to Emmett. Emmett named this new person Branch. Emmett and Branch quickly became friends, swimming and hunting for fish together often. Emmett showed Branch the simple cave in which he lived on the largest rock. Soon, Branch discovered a place where he decided to live, also on the same large rock. The sun always shone brightly on their world, and the water was always dazzlingly clear, allowing them to see almost to the deep ocean floor which surrounded them. Though the sun always shone, it was never too hot for the boys. A light breeze always came from the north and cooled the area down. One day, while Branch was swimming and having fun in the water, he noticed another boy swimming. Branch brought the new boy to Emmett to find out what to call the new boy. Emmett said the boy should be called Will. Will was soon part of the group, and all three of the boys swam and enjoyed their perfect world. At least that's the story I was told when I arrived today on the island. Emmett, Branch, and Will were surprised to see me at first, but even before the night ended, we were all becoming good friends. Today, the second day on this newly created age, a strange thing happened. It was not strange to me, but the three boys did not understand what was happening. While I was relaxing under a large tree on one of the smaller rock islands, it began to rain. It was a nice rain that lasted for about an hour in the morning. I explained to the boys that the rain was not harmful, yet they obviously still feared it. Before going to sleep tonight, I told the boys I would leave the following day. I told them that while I was gone, I would make a surprising change to their world. They didn't understand. Not that I expected them to. I still do not fully understand what happened today. I was experimenting with the art, testing the limits of the rules as dictated to me by Father. I attempted to create a boat by riding it into the world. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat had become gripped by the rock and broken in half. Although this test did not turn out as I had hoped, I now have answers to a few questions my father never answered. As for the boat, I can see the boys enjoy it anyway, and with that I'm pleased. They have played on it all day. Even though the boat cannot move, I have enjoyed studying submersible lamps. I've enjoyed studying from it. It is a much sturdier platform than the jagged rocks. In the course of my observations, I've learned some very interesting things regarding the solar system of this age. The nights are absolutely beautiful here. I have made note of and named a number of constellations that pass above me. Also, during the night, I catch glimmers of light from the horizon, which I have not been able to discover if it's created by some natural phenomenon or by additional people on far-off islands or rocks. I should very much like to discover which. I rather suspect it is additional people, which would explain the appearance of Branch and Will. The rain today was slightly heavier than usual. Just when the boys were getting used to the light rains, a small storm arrived. They were frightened of the heavy rain, not to mention the thunder and lightning. If rain has never fallen here until recently, as the boys tell, I would like to discover why it's falling now, and where they get their water. Regardless, I've decided to return home for a short while. I've also been thinking of some plans for a lighthouse that I hope to construct soon. I think that perhaps by shining a bright light towards the horizon, I might prove my suspicions regarding additional inhabitants. They'd be curious about the light and travel to discover its source, if they have the means. I returned with many tools that I need for construction of the lighthouse. I've decided that once the lighthouse is completed, I will leave for some time and let the world's own imagination have control. We've worked 3 weeks on the lighthouse now and are making great progress. The rock that we are building on seems to not be as secure as I would like. I have had to alter my plans slightly, but those alterations pose no real problem. The boys are quite strong and have been helping me immensely. I estimate construction will be done within 2 days. The lighthouse is finished, and we're all proud of our creation. The boys are amazed at the structure wrought from rock with their own hands. That evening we powered up the generator, much to the boys' dread at first, and shined the great light to the horizon for many hours. I stayed the night on top of the lighthouse. In the morning I woke to observe a sunrise without my being coated in the chilly blanket of ocean dew I'd become accustomed to. It was Will who first saw the girl. She was swimming She was swimming not far from the boat where Will was getting ready to hunt for fish. Then Will noticed a man not far away from the girl. Emmett was very pleased to meet the additional neighbors. I felt pleased to leave this age. I've set in motion events that have nothing to do with writing or the art that will have a more profound impact on this world than I could have ever thought. I think here's the stone ship age. So this is the stone ship. So is this the lighthouse? Interesting. Of it this age, I think of this age as a gift to myself that I will wrap up and open someday in the future, only to discover that it has changed so much that indeed it is a surprise. Besides, I have yet another new age that awaits me. It seems I'm going to need some way to travel underwater in this new age, and so much planning is involved. It's been 10 years since I left this age, which I've since called the Stone Ship Age. So these ages are inside books that these people write, and then they can travel into. Upon returning, I cannot believe the changes that have taken place. The original 3 boys have grown into adults. That's what boys will do. And there are many new faces that I do not recognize. Branch told me that it has not rained for 7 years and the cool breezes are back again. They are all very content and have been serving me with new foods and showing me new materials they have discovered. It even seems they have found gold somewhere. I see it in many forms around the island. This is just a map. It doesn't really show anything. That's not a bird's eye view. That's a freaking literally a top view. I see it in many forms around the island. My lighthouse has been kept in perfect condition. It looks as if they have tried their best to keep it so. Yet I've noted that the entire rock it was built on has sunk approximately 40 or 50 centimeters. After a wonderful visit to my old friends, I wonder aloud with them what things will be like in another 10 years. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to pause the video while I jot these down. I don't know if this is useful or not. Hold on just a second. Okay, these are interesting. This makes me want to check something out. Let's leave for the moment. We can't just constantly. Oh my God, I forgot this is reverse. Oh, it's dark outside. Huh. So let's. Here's all of these guys. Here we go. Anchor. Okay, let's see what that does. We also need to count the marker switches at some point. Oops. Sit down. Let's grab this thing. Okay, that's different dates, so that doesn't help us much. That didn't seem to do anything. Is there a light switch in here? No. Okay, so that's useless. So let's go back outside. Oh my God, why can't I go? There we go. And we will go ahead and turn this thing back off. We got to run around and count these marker switches at some point. So that seems relevant, but yeah. Alright, let's keep reading. This is the reading episode. We got here. Let's make sure. Yep, we're still. It's been a while since I've heard only silence. I enjoyed it greatly, I think. For some reason, I do not feel altogether welcome in this new world in which I've arrived, but how could I be unwelcome in an age with no inhabitants? It is, of course, only in my head. This world is very beautiful, but I think I have yet to ever write in a journal that an age I've linked to is horrid or disgusting. From the grassy hill where I'm standing, I can see green fields below, along with a few scattered forests. A rather large lake looms some distance from where I am standing, yet the water's blue can be seen plainly from here. The air is fresh, and the sky is sparkled with white clouds. It's absolutely breathtaking, and yet, that strange feeling again. Perhaps it's, sorry, I was just checking the real time. Perhaps it's just the hot breeze that continues to blow from the north, hotter than I would have imagined. It almost singes my skin, and I feel quite uncomfortable when it comes. I will try to ignore it. Night has almost arrived, and the sunset is spectacular. Oranges and reds have settled above the western horizon. Though night has come, the horizon still glows red, long past the sunset. Dark reds flow from the horizon and blend into the black sky. Again the feeling, and I'm beginning to believe that it is not all in my mind. I must sleep now. I will need my strength to explore more tomorrow. I've had to return home due to unpredictable natural occurrences more frightening than I've ever experienced. I was awakened by terrible shakings in the ground and explosions on all sides of me. Gigantic balls of fire were falling from the sky, and I immediately left in fear of my life. I must remember to bring a Myst linking book with me when I return, in case the one I left there has been destroyed or damaged. I've returned to a different world than the one I left only 3 months ago. It has been transformed into a barren desert land with only gigantic craters scattered across the land to provide varieties. Strangely enough, the small grassy hill where I spent my first night remains exactly the way I found it. Apparently, falling meteors do not hit this area, leaving an oasis in the midst of this horrible desolation. The hot wind I remember has turned into a rather pleasant breeze, which is at least One improvement. I fear it is the only improvement. The magnificent lake I saw on my first visit is now completely dried up. However, another lake now exists and appears to be quite a bit larger. I assume one of the falling meteors created this lake due to its circular shape and the jutting rock that grows out of the center of the lake. The rest of this world seems like desert, though I will verify that statement with closer inspection. Though this world has little visual excitement to offer, it offers much to the ear. Sounds constantly flow through my ears, and I have found there are where a few of them originate. It seems, as Catherine says, I do find beauty in everything. Last night I was awakened by a horrible hissing. I was sweating, and the heat was so intense that I immediately dipped my head into a nearby stream to cool it down. The hot breezes had returned, along with a low roar from the ground. I walked a short distance to observe some red flames shooting up from the earth. Suddenly the ground began to crack, and a large chasm opened. The chasm continued to grow until it was far too wide to cross. Then the tumult subsided, leaving only a dull roar. I've decided, however, I can use the chasm to my advantage. Perhaps the heat from the chasm can be harnessed. Okay. Even as the chasm has ripped into the surface of this world, it has opened up a whole new world to explore. Although uncomfortably hot, I found it possible to reach a cave in the chasm that had been created. And now I've explored deep into the crust of this planet. I found a vast underground cave system that will take many years to map and explore. I also look for a safer way to reach the underground than through the chasm wall. This age seems to change on its own, so I feel I should leave again and see if things are different when I return. It is also important that I check on Cirrus and Achenar to make sure everything is going along well. When I return, I also hope to bring back some tools I will need for my plans to explore the underground. Excuse me. The abundance of raw materials here is beginning to amaze me. I've returned with some of the complete tools I knew I would be needing. I assumed I would have to return for more basic materials. However, it seems as though I'll be able to find everything I need here. Of course, iron is abundant, but I've also found titanium occurs naturally. Okay, I am all the more excited to begin work. Everything is set. I look forward to tomorrow. My raw materials are all here. I think I'll be able to have most of my additions to this age complete within 1 year. I still love working with my hands, whether writing or building. I began today on the bridge. This is all faded. Decided to 3 meteors. Here's the ship. Prized inventions, never imagined, could possibly. I'm leaving today in order to bring back Cirrus and Achenar. I've left them alone in Channelwood. I believe they will enjoy all there is to see here. The age seems to have stabilized. I believe meters set off a period of volcanic activity by piercing into the shallow crust, but the tremors have become few. I've just noticed that a large amount of this journal's curiosity has curiously vanished from the very pages on which I wrote over the last 18 months. Fortunately, I've copied many of my construction... for crying out loud. My construction notes in another journal. I do not understand the many mysteries of this world, but I trust I will discover logical answers to my questions. I have a feeling that many of my questions can be answered in another age, to which I hope to travel soon, but for now I must simply accept this world's mysteries and take pride in my accomplishments. So there's the barren world. Alright, hold on. I'm going to copy this down. Be right back. Okay, we've copied this clue, but we haven't found a piano yet, so that doesn't do us much good. These are all wrecked. This one looks good. Before arriving at this age, I was determined that it would be a journey to a world very different from my previous adventures, and it was. The sky here is dark and gray and incessantly displays flashes of lightning in the distance. I met a very old man with a long beard and hair that hangs down to his waist. He was very feeble and has trouble even moving. This man has obviously been through many things in this strange world, and I've learned many things from him. He's told me an interesting story of this world's history. Years ago, he told me, there was a beautiful city that rose up out of the water. It housed many people inside its walls, and the people had everything they wished for. The city was surrounded by 3 high hills which rose higher than the city. On the east hill of the city rested a large lookout post. The people of the city had constructed the post, expecting visitors to arrive from the east. People had no means of traveling on the water, which forced them to merely wait for friend or foe. As time passed, friendly villagers brought rumors of an enemy that existed beyond the horizon. People grew fearful, yet nothing happened. One day, the usually sunny sky became as dark as night, and black ships appeared on the horizon. The lookout post's attempts at peace were turned away, and the sentries were easily overwhelmed. The ships continued to wreak havoc on the city, apparently destroying everyone and everything. After the foundations of the city were destroyed, the city sunk deep into the ocean, and only the lookout post remained. The black ships sailed away. The man continued to say that 8 people had hidden and managed to survive throughout the attack. In the 9 years since the attack, 2 of the survivors had died. He also said it was rumored that 10 years from the attack, the enemy would return to finish the destruction they had started so long ago. I have decided, since hearing the man's story, it would be admirable to save the civilization and stop this enemy's plan of destruction. I'm excited about the adventure that awaits me, and an idea has sparked in my mind to provide the needed defense for these people. I met the remaining survivors today and have begun work on my plans for protection. Gear room. After a short absence, I've returned to this age with my 2 sons. They have, as of yet, traveled rarely with me, and they are understandably excited to be here. They have grown considerable since the Everdunes. It's already obvious to me that they will have a great help in this time. Instead of the nuisance they have been in the past. All three of us, along with 4 of the healthier survivors, began construction today. We're building upon the old city's ruins, which will provide a perfect foundation for our fortress. Oh, look at this. Okay. My sons have been spending much of our spare time on the South Island where most of my material is stored. I'm very pleased with their intelligence, and their creativity is refreshing to see, as they work on some small projects of their own. It's been over 4 months now, and construction's going well. My sons love the world except for its gray sky. They detest the gray sky and tell me many times they wish the sky here was like the blue sky in Myst. The old man I first talked to tells me that the enemy is due in 4 months. I feel we'll be ready when the time comes. The man reminds me of Emmett in many ways, and I often wonder how Emmett's doing and his people are doing. It's been 6 months. That's interesting. Tracks though. It's been 6 months of work, and we have finally finished the fortress. It rests between 3 hills, which are now the only islands due to the rising water level that the people experienced after the attack. Inside the fortress, I have designed a most intriguing device. It makes use of a technology called holography. I've been experimenting with it on my visits to Aspermere. I will be working in a couple of days. I compensate for some small miscalculations. I'll be working in some. Okay. This holographic device will enable the survivors to learn to use the fortress. The enemy is due to come soon, and I trust the fortress will provide sufficient protection for all of us. Ah, interesting. Insignias of the Black Ships. The Black Ships have come. Their attack was substantial. Their weapons have been stopped, and it appears they have turned away in defeat. I could not help but smile as I watched the boats leave. Last night we had a small celebration in the old survivors' Danse. Their dances of old. My sons did not understand why the sky had not turned back to its original blue. The old man told them that the storms would never end until the enemy was destroyed. I assured my sons that a blue sky was not worth the risk of death, and they seemed to hear me. I've had a healthy adventure and have begun work on a new book. Once again, I must leave a familiar age in search of a new universe I have begun. But first I will have an extended time with Catherine, who I miss very much. I must also return to the people of the Tide. I believe in my travels I have found a substance that will ease the pain of their bone ailments that they have long endured. I hope to return to mechanical age one day and find the population growing and my fortress still strong. Though the sky may always be black, I'm confident the people here feel heavier. A heavier darkness has been lifted from their shoulders. Okay. I think one more. Rhyme, I have named it. A desolate age with beauty that is quite different different than I had expected or imagined. The intricate feathers of ice that fall from the sky are awe-inspiring. I feel as though I could sit and watch them for hours, and though it is cold here, like I've never experienced before, I find myself enjoying the change of temperature, for it is unlike any other place I've ever seen. Perhaps the oddest thing is the silence. Although the wind blows on occasion, when it ceases, there is a suffocating silence that falls on this place, broken only by the distant cries of unseen creatures. I visited 3 times, and am sure now that this age will provide the environment I need. I believe the cold temperature is necessary for obtaining the correct resonance. Examining the structure of the books is ever more perplexing, but I am driven onward by my need to understand. The great tree of possibilities can never fully be grasped, but I must at least try to find one particular branch. On the subject of enlightenment, I would also like to find the cause of the mysterious lights that shine in the darkness here. Though I never assumed that I would be able to build especially fast here, the speed at which I am progressing is somewhat disappointing. I do think I will bring Cirrus and Achenar, as well as some of the machinery from Selenetic. Achenar chose to stay with Catherine, but Cirrus was rather excited to come. He has spent the last few days here with us, helping me with the beginning phases of construction. He, too, seems to enjoy the ice and cold weather. He's intrigued with the crystals that we have brought with us. He has been a big help, as have others, and I hope to be able to begin my experiments here soon. Tonight, Cirrus and I found a wondrous spot to view the lights, although it seems they decided to hide from us. After sitting in the cold winds for over 2 hours, we saw nothing. It was rather disappointing. Cirrus will return to Myst tomorrow. He's been a tremendous aid to me, and I'll be thankful for his willingness to help. The hard part of the construction is over, although I have decided after tonight that I would like to add some kind of observation post. I won't be finished as soon as I had hoped, although I'm fairly certain it will be worth the delay in the long run. I've decided to take a break from the construction now that the tunnel is almost complete, and I've been able to set up a temporary space where the crystals will not be stimulated. I am quite convinced that with the right diffraction resonance, certain properties of the ink can be simulated. Catherine still finds it absurd and thinks that I'm crazy to assume I will be able to view ages with stones, but her unusual pessimism has not convinced me to stop trying. I came too close to success on Everdunes. I'm fairly certain now that temperature indeed does have an effect on the crystals, but I've realized that temperature alone is not enough. The cold dampens some of the sympathetic harmonics, but a more active suppressor is necessary. I've acquired some geodes with a pure protected crystalline interior. Thin slices of the geodes below each crystal provided a stabilizing effect and even amplified the clean frequency slightly. After quite a bit of experimentation with the shapes and colors, I was able to capture a blurry image within a book. Though the link would never work, there was clearly an age on the other side. I can hardly wait to return and tell Catherine. I feel like I should finish the shaft to my observation post while I have the machinery here, perhaps tomorrow morning. The lights were beautiful again last night, and have not shown themselves for so long that I almost forgotten their beauty, but I still must find the cause. I'm feeling rather overwhelmed with what remains to be done. The crystals have not been perfected, the shaft is not finished, nor is the observation post or even lab. I have not seen Catherine for some time, and I long to spend time with Achenar and Cirrus. Beside all of that, there are far away in the back of my mind the thoughts of my people and our lost city. I dreamt again of them last night. I've only seen the city in its worst condition, and still its beauty overwhelmed me. Even now, as I visualize how majestic it must have been before the destruction caused by Diovis and Ageres, it amazes me and saddens me. I'm fairly certain that Danse is not dead as my father believed. Danse's like a race. See, they had a novel that they put out, and it was really not very good, but I read it, and it did answer, like, 3 questions. I'm convinced that there must be some who managed to escape the destruction, even now continue to survive in separate ages. Within me is an urging to take the chance to return to Danse, to find these survivors, properly rebuild our city. However, I can do nothing until I'm certain of the fate of my father. If my plan failed, if I missed a single book when attempting to trap him on Riven, then he has been free all along. Riven's the next game in the series. If that is true, then all that stands between him and the ages I have now written is the link from Danse to Myst. As much as I wish to return to Danse without knowing the state of my father, I cannot risk re-establishing that link. What is this? I must observe my father without re-establishing that link. It has taken several years, and there have been many dead ends, but I have partially succeeded. Now that I've managed to view another age using the crystals, it's only a matter of time until I view Riven. At least, I hope. Catherine will have her ideas about all these things, and I miss her greatly, but I will return to Rhyme later, when my mind has cleared. So there's number 40. And that's it. That's it for reading. We are at 22 minutes, but I tell you what, we need to look around a little bit. You know? Tower rotation. I hate that it's dark, but how do I get to the tower? I'm still having a lot of problems with this, Wait a minute. Can I just open this? I can! Ah, yes! Okay, I thought I could. So we will head in there next time, everybody. Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, I appreciate it, and I will talk to y'all next time.